Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Book Time with Elvis with me, Mark. And it's Sunday, which means, of course, it's another episode of my week on BookTube, looking at the highlights, my own personal highlights of what I've seen on BookTube in the last week. So from July the 3rd till yesterday, July the 9th. So we're going to start off like I usually do with videos I saw on Sunday. And like every Sunday, I've been watching Sean D. Stanfast's Desert Island books. And that's not just because I was in the first episode, but he's continuing. He's up to episode 5. I think episode 6 will be released later today. And last week's episode featured Cristina from Knitting Books, etc. And it was a really nice, calming, interesting video. And Cristina made some very interesting picks. So I advise you to go over to Sean's channel and check that out. I also watched last Sunday Michael K. Vaughan's video discussing Herodotus. I'm a big fan of Herodotus myself, and he looks at all the different editions of the early historian and advises you which one to start with and all that kind of thing. So you should go and check that out if you are at all interested in ancient history or want to read some essential classics of history. Okay, so the rest aren't really in any particular order because I can't remember the days that I watched them on. All of the links, of course, for these videos that I talk about will be down below. So let's crack on. My good friend Carrie from Very Literary Carrie released a recent reads video, which is very worth checking out, worth your while, definitely. She's very fun and great gal, and she usually chooses some really interesting books to read. So I think you can't go wrong by watching that particular video. Then I watched a Book Talk and Shoutouts video from Katja Weinert, which was also very interesting. Katja's very enthusiastic, and she usually has an interesting take on things. So once again, I would recommend you check her channel out if you haven't already, and particularly that video that she made this week. Moving on, there's a channel that's fairly new to me, but she has some very interesting videos, and that's My House is a Library. And the particular video I'm referring to is all the books, all the time, what I'm reading in the various areas of my house. And when you see the background to her videos, I mean, really looks like she's living in a library for sure. And it's just very, very nice video, again, with some interesting content and some different readings of excerpts, poetry, that kind of stuff. So definitely check out that channel. And we move on to the first of the tag videos that I watched this week. One of them was the Books of Alfred Hitchcock tag that I saw on Becky's channel, Teacup the Storyteller. I'm a huge fan of Alfred Hitchcock, and I was actually twice tagged to do this tag, albeit after the comment I left. So I guess, is that retrospectively or retroactively? Can't remember. I'm sure you'll correct me in the comments. And the second tag video is the I used to do that tag, which is a bit of shameless self-promotion because it was a tag originated by yours truly, but it was done superbly well by Vin from Revenant Reads. So I'll leave a link to that video also down below. Next up, we had a tag from, I think it was 4 years ago, which I tried to revive in a video myself this week, but it was the 50 Questions You've Never Been Asked tag by Steve Donahue. It popped up in my, when I signed into YouTube, and I watched it and I thought, that's a great tag. I'm going to do it, even though it's, as I say, 4 years old. I don't think there's usually, depending on the tag, there's not really a time limit on them. So I did it and then tagged a few people, which I am kind of looking forward to seeing their versions if they get round to doing it. And then finally we come to Shelley Swearingen, and she made a video from California, her reading wrap up for June 2022. As usual, Shelley's very full of energy and she goes through all the stuff that she read back in June. I'm a big fan of Shelley's channel and Shelley as a person. However, I was a little bit... It always sounds bad when you say that, isn't it? I like you, but... Well, I was just a little disappointed in Shelley's opinion about something. Not in Shelley herself, but she was discussing very briefly The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe by C.S. Lewis, and how she didn't get on with that book. She read it as a child and liked it, didn't like it as an adult. The first 5-6 chapters or so, she said, were fine, until she started to realize that the gender roles within the book are heavily defined. I don't know, it seems to be a growing theme across big parts of our BookTube community at the moment, where people are kind of looking back at older works and holding them to standards of our own time. And, you know, bear in mind, Lion, Witch and Wardrobe is very biblically allegorical, and of course throughout the book he refers to people as, or the children are referred to as son of Adam, daughter of Eve, that kind of thing. And so to me it's no surprise that the gender would be assigned in such a way and designated in such a way. I wonder, you know, when people have these kind of problems, whether they would also have problems, you know, with something like the Bible as well, you know, because of course their gender assignment is very specific, of course. You know, personally, you know, I live in the modern world. I like to think that I'm a very open-minded and modern person. I haven't a problem with gender fluidity or anyone wanting to be whatever they want to be, you know. That's up to them. But I do think when we judge older works for something that was so ingrained in their society, you know, that the roles of men and women were clearly defined, to judge that now seems to me a little unfair. And I don't think it's, for me, justification of then turning around saying the book's no good for that reason. To be fair as well to Shelley, she didn't really give a detailed explanation of her problem with that particular issue. Perhaps I'm just misconstruing it, but I was a bit disappointed. You know, it is a beloved book by many, of course, and of course everyone is entitled to dislike it and to have their own opinion of it. But I do think I'm getting a little bit frustrated when I see a lot of booktubers, especially ones from my own, I would say my own kind of background. There's an element of, perhaps, I don't like to say it, but maybe like bandwagon jumping on bandwagons to kind of denigrate and criticize classic works because they don't meet our standards. You know, maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm just reading too much into it, but I do feel disappointed when I see videos like that. I can understand if The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe was published yesterday, for sure. I think you would have a legitimate gripe if such things were written and defined in such a way. But yeah, I don't know. It's just a shame, and I do see more and more of it these days from quite a few channels. Probably it's an opinion that will be unpopular, but you know, I want to be truthful, and that's how I feel about it. So there we go. And last off, I'm going to recommend a video that is not to do with BookTube, but it links in with an ongoing BookTube event. And this is a video from someone called Styran. And what they've done is they've uploaded a radio play by A. Milne, the author of Winnie the Pooh. And the name of the play is Miss Elizabeth Bennet, and you can tell by the name, of course, it links into Jane Austen July. And it is Mr. Milne's interpretation or retelling, if you like, of Jane Austen's classic Pride and Prejudice, which coincidentally I'm also reading every day and uploading 2 or 3 chapters per day to YouTube, and I'm quite enjoying it. I think it was better for me to do that, to force myself to read it by committing to reading it every day to, albeit a limited audience at the moment, but I quite understand. I am not sure I'd want to sit through what must by now be a few hours worth of me talking and reading that particular book. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I will of course be back again soon, and do take care everyone. From Elvis and I, best wishes. Bye bye.